Quickly. All right, so as we're getting ready for this, I want you to make sure that you're in a nice environment that is free of distractions to the best of your abilities. So not in a place that's trafficked by people. Definitely don't want to have pets and dogs and things around you that are going to be pawing at you, because we want to really have a deliberate intention with this and see if we can get some really good practice out of it. Okay. So again, we'll be starting here in about a minute, and make sure that you're in a nice, comfortable spot. I like sitting outside, feels very open, but you can sit anywhere. All right. All right, another couple of tips. If you have this, you're listening through an iPhone, or even your computer, maybe think about setting that off to the side so that you're not distracted by looking down at what's happening on the video, because really I'm just going to be standing here talking us through this stuff. So, ideally, as we meditate, we like to practice with our eyes open. So we're going to be doing this sitting and just looking straight forward or having a downward gaze. And ideally, the phone or computer is going to be off to the side so it's not distracting. Okay. And the reason we want to do eyes open is because we're practicing we're cultivating present moment awareness, and we want to use this skill as we're going about our normal day. And our normal day is spent with eyes open. All right. So I recommend doing this with the eyes open. And, and so we're going to begin here in just a moment. Let's make sure we also have a very deliberate intention. And so what we're doing here together is meditation is really just about choosing a focus, noticing yourself talking to yourself or lost in thought or not on your focus. And as soon as you notice that, there's this temporary moment of almost complete presence. It's very open feeling. And when you notice yourself distracted or talking to yourself, you simply come back to the focus that we're on. Okay. Every time you come back to the focus that we're on, you're going to notice there's a brief moment of openness and space and clarity. It's complete presence. And that's what we're looking for. And then as we go through this process, you'll notice yourself start to drift and talk to yourself again, which is perfectly fine and normal. Even the greatest meditation and mindfulness and Zen masters in the world, they're human beings. The mind thinks like the heart beats. And so you just have to accept that. It's perfectly fine. The goal is not to have a meditation session where you're not thinking. The goal is to notice yourself thinking, because in the noticing, you're cultivating the skill throughout the rest of your day to notice yourself getting distracted and caught up and upset and irritated, and the infinite variety of forms that comes in. All right. So the goal, again, as we sit and we go through these different focuses, we're keeping our eyes open. Things are nice and easy and gentle, and we're just on our focus. And as soon as you notice yourself talking to yourself or lost in thought or in some kind of a conversation or fairy tale, then you just notice it and come back to the focus. And you'll notice there's a brief moment of complete presence and openness. And we just want to do that over and over and over again as we go through this process. Okay. All right, cool. So what we're going to do first is I want you to sit, eyes open, and we're just going to engage all the senses. Okay. So I want you to take a few deep breaths with your eyes open. I want you to look around, listen, and feel the body. Now, I want us all to acknowledge when we just did that, there's just something very open and spacious about that, right? There's no thinking, because you're engaging all the senses. And when you first do that, there's no space for thinking, right? It's just very open and still. Even though you may have some sounds going on in the background, the mind activity is very open and still. Okay. That is the practice moment that we're looking for, that feeling of space and openness. Okay. So now we're going to spend just a few minutes working on listening meditation. I love starting with listening because listening is something we have access to anywhere we are. So now, how we just engage all those senses, I want us to take a moment and just use the listening and see how many different sounds that we can pick up on in our current experience. And again, with eyes open, maybe a downward gaze, we're just going to listen for a few breaths. All right. All right, cool. And again, we should notice there, like there's this temporary moment of openness, of no thinking. It's, a lot of people think meditation is forcing yourself not to think or clearing your mind. It's really about introducing a focus to create that space in mind, like we just did. Okay, now we're going to sit here and we're going to try to listen for about 3 minutes together. And as we're listening, initially you're going to notice that openness in space. And then at some point, it's just the natural tendency of the mind. You're going to start to talk to yourself. And it could be very subtle and hard to pick up on. But at some point, you're going to notice that, oh, I'm supposed to be listening. And now I'm here talking to myself about something, right? As soon as you notice that, no matter what it is, I don't care how important it feels, you just take a moment and then you re listen to whatever you have access to in your current experience. And you can listen to everything. You can pick up on one sound in particular. When I sit outside, I'll listen to traffic. Sometimes birds will come in, a plane will fly overhead. It doesn't matter. We're just using the sense of listening to create some mental space. Okay. And then as soon as you notice yourself talking to yourself, you come back and re listen again. All right. And then we'll shift on to another focus. All right. So let's do this together for about 3 minutes. Go ahead and begin. So again, if you notice yourself lost in thought or talking to yourself, just gently come back and re listen to something in your current experience and create some more space. All right, cool. So if you have any questions or comments about that brief experience there, please just feel free to share it in the comments. And we're going to move on to something else, and we're just going to change our focuses. Now, what we like to do is we use the focus of listening because it's current moment experience. When you listen, there's things in your current environment that you're listening to, right? So we're trying to cultivate this present moment awareness. We also like to use feeling the body or body sensations. This is a very powerful skill to cultivate. And again, using this focus, you're going to create some natural space and thought. So the first thing that I want us to do is just work on our posture. So let's just make sure that we're sitting nice and upright. And then what I want us to do, again, we're keeping our eyes open as we do this. I want us to run our awareness up and down our spine and imagine working out the kinks in the spine. You're going to go up and down from the base of your neck all the way down to your tailbone. Work out the kinks, make sure your shoulders are pinched back. And then what I like to do is finish with imagining pushing my tailbone down into the seat and then having the back of the head pulled up to the sky. All right, so now we should have a nice and tight and straight posture. So from here, we should notice ourselves start to get out of alignment and then we can automatically correct ourselves. So let's just maintain this nice posture. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do a body scan. So this is going to prime us for feeling the body. So the first thing that I want us to do is feel the connection of our feet against the ground. Feel that connection point. Just feel it. All right, now let's feel the connection of our butt up against the seat. Just feel that connection point. All right, then we're going to connect those two together. So I want you to take a couple deep breaths in, and on the exhale, I want you to feel yourself being pulled down by gravity into those two connection points while maintaining the feeling of those two connection points. All right, a couple of deep breaths, and then feel the connection of the butt and the feet against the ground. All right. Now we're going to move up the body. Let's come up to the stomach, and we're going to feel the stomach as we breathe. The stomach should move in and out. And now let's come up to our chest area. Let's feel the chest. Feel the lungs breathe. Let's come out to the hands and feel the hands. So what I want you to do is put your hands palms up, and I want you to feel your hands, feel your fingertips. And if you try really hard, you might be able to feel a pulse or a heartbeat or a throbbing in your fingertips. All right, cool. Now you can relax your hands and let's go up to the head. Let's feel the ears. And then let's come out to the face and relax the entire face, starting with the forehead and the brow. You're just going to relax the muscles in the forehead and the brow. Relax the muscles around the eyes. Check in with the eyeballs. Come down to the nasal passage. And then come down to the mouth and relax the muscles around the mouth. And feel your lips. All right, now that we got that whole face nice and relaxed, let's see if we can feel the whole face at once. All right, awesome. So that's a body scan. And then what we want to do is see if we can feel anything from the environment, anything external. So maybe you feel a nice little breeze. Maybe you've got some sun shining on you if you're sitting outside. All right, so cool. So what we should notice is that as we went through that entire process, there wasn't any thinking happening, right? We were feeling the body, shifting from focus to focus within the body. And that's another focus that can create space. It's also present moment awareness based because we're feeling our body right now. So we're going to do just a minute of practice of just feeling the body. You can focus on any aspect that felt comfortable to you just then. You know, the pressure of the ground up against the feet or the butt, or the feeling of the hands, or environmental factors. But the goal is to notice yourself start to talk to yourself and get lost in thought. And as soon as you do, you just come back and refill the body. All right, we're going to spend just a brief moment doing this together. All right, cool. So that's feeling the body. All right, that's a very useful skill to cultivate. A lot of times you'll be going throughout your day and you'll notice something. You won't be thinking anything or notice yourself talking to yourself, but you'll notice something happens with your body, like a little tightness or stress or tension. Sometimes the body gives you signals before the mind gives you signals. So it's easy to pick up on things that are distracting or bothering you or something like that. All right. So the final focus we want to shift to is the breath. Right, the breath is a very traditional focus. Again, we're cultivating present moment awareness with it because we're breathing right now, and it's a great way to have a mind-body connection. So let's just go through a couple of examples, and then we'll do another little minute of practice and just finish with some closing thoughts. Okay. So with the breath, the first thing I want you to do is just follow your breath all the way in to the turnaround point and then all the way back out. All right, go ahead and follow your breath. All right, the next thing I want us to do is feel the breath at the nostrils, the nasal passage in the back of the throat. Feel the breath as you breathe in and out. All right, and then finally, I want us to experiment with a total body breath. So as we breathe in and out, you should feel your whole body slightly shift. So a few deep breaths of a total body breath. All right, cool. So there's a lot of different focuses we can use with the breath. We're going to finish with about a minute of feeling the breath at the nostrils, the nasal passage, in the back of the throat. And our goal here is, again, we should have noticed we weren't talking to ourselves or anything during that little practice session because our focus was shifting through these different breath focuses. So as we focus on feeling the breath, I just want you to notice yourself lost in thought or talking to yourself. As soon as you notice that, no big deal. Just come back and feel the breath again and follow the breath. All right. So we're just going to do that for about a minute together. All right, cool. So it's always very interesting for me as I get to my last focus like that. Like I automatically start to think about what I have going on for the rest of the day and what I have to get ready for next. And it's so tempting to stay there and just think about those things. And that's just a really good practice moment because you want to notice that I'm here for this. I blocked out this time. And the instruction is to come back and feel the breath. And then you create more space. And that thinking just kind of dissipates like clouds in the sky. It's really, really interesting to watch that whole process happen. All right. So we usually recommend after you finish meditating, take a moment and think about what it is you want for your life. And something that you can do is that's really simple and basic without having like written affirmations or envisioning statements, which we do recommend having. Let's just take a moment and close our eyes together. And what I want you to do is picture yourself from a slight distance. I like to picture myself up on a platform. And this version of yourself you're seeing outside of yourself. And it is the healthiest, happiest, most vibrant, amazing version of yourself. And the fittest and leanest version of yourself, the healthiest, the happiest. This also encompasses all your other dreams and wishes, like your financial status and relationship and career. It's an all encompassing vision of yourself. And you're just seeing yourself on this platform rotating with a big smile on your face. Again, happy, confident, great posture, fit, lean, healthy, encompassing everything that you want to become. And this version of yourself is what you are stepping into each and every day. You're moving in that direction. That's the kind of person that you want to be, right? And then just finish by stepping into that version of yourself and then opening your eyes. All right. So just remember what we're doing here. Meditation is cultivating the skill of noticing what's happening, the skill of noticing your thinking, you noticing yourself being distracted, upset, reactive. Because if we can do this in a sitting session and deliberately come back to a focus, we're cultivating that skill to use it throughout the rest of the day and throughout the rest of our life. Right? Meaning that now my intention is I go throughout my day, I'm going to watch this thing. I'm going to watch myself. And if I notice myself get Facebook or social media or my phone, I can see that. And in seeing of that, I'm completely present. And now I have a choice to come back to my work, or I may decide to go back to my phone. It doesn't matter. But also, this cultivates the skill to notice ourselves getting triggered, upset, having a critical, judgmental mind, any variety of the form of those negative thinking thoughts that come in. As soon as we notice it, there's a temporary moment of clarity in space. And from that temporary moment of clarity in space, we have a choice and we can make a better choice. All right. It doesn't make our lives automatically, better or mean that we're not going to have difficulties or suffering or be happy all the time. But in the process of noticing, we're more present with it. And over time, we're going to notice ourselves being more happy because we're not being carried off by these thoughts automatically. We're conscious. Okay. All right, cool. So I welcome any feedback. If you got any comments, questions, please leave them in the comments. And then we have another session tomorrow, and I can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Okay. Thank you so much for tuning in.